All right, and welcome into the Betting Pros College Football Show. We're on to week 3 of the season, and in this episode, we'll give you our early picks and line movement predictions for the biggest games on the slate. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, sporting the camo today as we're back on the hunt for some absolute gainer tickets. And I'm joined by a man who sent me some very strongly worded texts about his feelings towards Mark Stoops over the weekend. Yes, it's Scott Big Time Bogman. Boggs, how are you following a very busy weekend of football?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. My record was bad, but my big bet hit, my parlay hit. So I was right on the things I put a lot of money on, but not on my sprinkles were not great this week. So look, we're not here to talk about the past. I'm going to Mark McGuire this. We're here to talk about the future in week 3. But yeah, dude, that field goal. Oh man, I was seeing red because I had them by 9.5 was my big number that I had there. And they were up by 10 in the stupid field goal. It was the right decision by Mark Stoops, but come on, man, just go for the touchdown. What are y'all doing?
Well, it also took my under out for that game. So we were both pretty upset ending Saturday night, but we move on. We got a busy program for y'all today. It looks like this. We will react to week 2, give you the biggest risers and the fallers for the betting landscape moving forward. And then we'll break down the early picks and line movement predictions for week 3's top 10 biggest games on the slate. And as always, shout out to everyone who's back with us, either on the Betting Pros YouTube channel or the audio feed. We appreciate it. We see you. The easiest free way to support us, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. And make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you're new, so don't miss a second of college football and NFL betting coverage this season. And before we jump in as well, if you want a chance to win a signed Alvin Kamara Saints helmet for free, courtesy of our friends over at pristineauction.com, all you have to do is head over to bettingpros.com/contest and complete the form by doing either A, download the Betting Pros app, B, leave a review for the Betting Pros podcast, or C, subscribe to our social media channels at Betting Pros on X and TikTok, or at Betting Pros NFL on Instagram. The more actions you complete, the more entries you're going to receive, and we will be announcing a winner right here on the channel, so make sure you turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize if you are that lucky winner. Now let's go ahead and look back at what really looked like a pretty, I want to say, mild slate of games in week 2, but turned out to be absolute cinema on campuses across the country. Number 6 Oregon, they destroyed Oklahoma State after a little bit of smack was talked earlier in the week, 69-3. Number 8 Clemson, they survived Troy, 27-16. Illinois, they run away late from Duke, 45-19. The number 16th ranked Iowa State Cyclones, they retain the Cy-Hawk Trophy, 16-13 against Iowa. Baylor takes down number 17 SMU, 48-45. Mississippi State upsets number 12 Arizona State, 24-20. South Florida remains giant slayers. They beat number 13 Florida, 18-16 in the Swamp. Number 18 Oklahoma clears number 15 Michigan, 24-13 in primetime. NC State, they stay undefeated, 35-31 against UVA. Missouri wins the border war, 42-31 against Kansas. Army wins the battle, 24-21 against Kansas State. Toledo remains in the G6 playoff spot conversation, beating WKU 45-21. And Vandy, they dog-walk Virginia Tech 44-20. Boggs, I ask you this again. Who are your biggest betting risers and fallers following the week 2 action?
Well, I mean, for risers, Illinois looked so strong against Duke. Mississippi State with the big win. They are no longer jokes. Florida has to take a big loss. Good God. You have a home game against a G6 team and you lose this. I mean, they were 17.5-point favorites and they lost straight up in this game. That was Patheticsville. You could say look ahead to LSU, which is part of the reason why I was on the under in that one. But this is results over process in that game, because I thought that this would be Florida gets up and leans on their lead and USF has to play catch up. That is not what happened. The USF was in this game the whole time and came back and won. So they definitely moved down. Clemson looked pathetic against Troy. I know there's a weird weather thdelay in there, but they're clearly looking ahead. Not look good there. I think outside of that, Iowa State is kind of what we expected. Vandy and Virginia Tech was surprising to me. I thought Va Tech was going to be in that game, and they were not at all. Everything else, I think, kind of was in the range. Oklahoma State getting absolutely smacked was a little more than I thought, but I thought somewhere in that neighborhood was going to happen. Not quite that. I thought maybe like a 42-10 or 49-10. Not quite that bad, but never hurts to see Mike Gundy lose. I don't mind it.
No, absolutely. And I agree to you. Like Illinois to me is one of the biggest risers here. Also in the AP rankings, they move into the top 10 as well for, I don't know if that's the first time in my lifetime, but the first time at least is in maybe my adulthood, that they are a top 10 ranked team. And I thought that was a really big spot for them, considering that Manny Diaz kind of had a playbook on how to defend Luke Altmaier from his time at Penn State. They ran away with that one late. So really, really well done there. Oklahoma, man, this looks like a team that's just very sound. I really liked what we saw from them. John Matier looks super poised as compared to kind of what we expected from the Michigan true freshman there, Bryce Underwood. So I like that.
Under.
Yeah, there you go. And I wanted to lay the points with Iowa State, or at least bet that money line. And dude, like I honestly think Iowa State is a real threat to win the Big 12 right now. Like I don't know who else you would really prefer to win that conference. Like, do you have
Utah.
someone I guess, but who has Utah played compared to Iowa State now?
I don't care. Utah's going to murder these guys.
Maybe. We'll see, man. I like it a lot. And overall, I think, Boggs, it was a really fun slate. And like the big surprise to me, which I guess wasn't a surprise because I wasn't willing to bet them, was that Arizona State team just falling to Mississippi State. And I think it's less about what we saw from Arizona State, and like Mississippi State, man, with Fluff, Devon Booth in the backfield,
they look
man,
good.
Like, and the cowbells, they're legit.
Ooh, that crowd was in it. That place was loud. Those announcers had to yell for us to hear them make those calls. So that environment was insane. Mississippi State, when they're good, are a lot of fun to watch. So hopefully that's where we're getting. Blake Shapen looked good, but we've heard Kenny Dillingham complain about his team a little bit. Sometimes what I thought going in was, this is motivation. This is just let's get our guys up and all that stuff. No, he was concerned, and rightfully so. This was a rough game for Arizona State, and they looked sloppy in their first game against NAU. So tough spot on the road for them.
Yeah, 1-3 for me on my picks, man. Number 14 Michigan and number 18 Oklahoma. The under for that was the only bet I hit. Mark Stoops, as we mentioned, dead to me for that field goal.
Yes.
And also, I would like to say, we'll talk about them later in the program. Don't need to spend a lot of time on them. But Rich Fraud, you're a fraud, man. Like, you're an absolute fraud. The coaching decisions late in that one, 3 turnovers off Parker Navarro, couldn't score once. They go ahead and move to their backup quarterback.
Speaking of cursing, Seth sent me one of those texts. Like, what is West Virginia doing switching this quarterback? This guy is worse than the first guy. And I wasn't watching any of that game.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably no reason to, unless you're like a degenerate Mac better like myself. But it was one of those situations, man, where like we finally started to get some rhythm back in that WVU offense late in that game. He had his best throw early in that one in the fourth quarter. They take him out. They bring this other guy in for 2 drives. He was pitiful. So that cost me the game there. How are your picks overall? And anyone you would like to shout out or mark off as dead for the rest of the season?
I mean, Stoops is the biggest one here. But,
okay. Right.
I was 3-6 on my picks on my show. So we missed. Oh man. The ones I got, I feel like were results over process, and the ones I lost, a lot of them were process over results. Not all of them. Like the ones I just flat out missed. I did not expect Toledo to put that many points up, and I picked the under in that game because they played such good defense against Kentucky. I thought they would score like 35, 42 and hold WKU to like maybe 10. And not what happened. They put up a bunch of points. Clemson team total, I had the over on that one. Just complete whiff. That one was a whiff as well. UConn and Syracuse, Seth, infuriates me.
Win sprints afterwards.
I had this game locked up. If UConn doesn't tie the game and go into overtime, I win this bet. And they were winning straight up the whole game until the last second when Syracuse got up. I got backdoored on that one. Ole Miss, Kentucky, the field goal screwed me on that one. Illinois and Duke, that one was right. But SMU Baylor is another game I lost because Baylor scored with 34 seconds left.
Yeah.
So, just eking out losses piling up for me. But I got my under on USF. I got Fresno State plus 3.5. They won straight up in that one, but because of the wackiness of the fourth quarter, I did not get the under in that game. I thought I was going to get both those teams running a lot. So yeah, I believe I was 7-4 on my props, and I was 3-6 on my pick.
Okay.
So we did okay money wise this weekend because we had the most. I tripled that USF Florida bet, but we're doing okay in units, but in picks, my record is going to look ugly after this week.
Hey, we'll keep at it here in week 3, man. There's no better time than the present to get after it. So let's do that. And the action gets going on Friday night with the Colorado Buffaloes. They are 4.5 to 5.5 point road dogs to the Houston Cougars. And the Buffs, man, they got back on track last week. They beat Delaware after losing just a heartbreaker to Georgia Tech in that opener. However, they're still 0-2 ATS, 115th in total defense, 91st in total offense. Houston, 2-0 straight up, 2-0 ATS so far this season. They have played games against SAU and Rice. They're not the best opponents, but Texas A&M transfer quarterback Connor Wegman, he'll be under center here. And they do have Rice transfer Dean Connors in the backfield, a really hot name in the CFF streets this offseason. They come in 80th in total offense, but 4th in total defense, which is pretty representative of what we've come to expect of Houston in this Willie Fritz era. Boggs, the obvious play for me feels like the under, but is that a trap? And where do you see both the total and the line spread going this week?
Yeah, close game here. Roster is insanely close. Roster saying for Colorado is 35. For Houston, it's 40. And Houston's at home, right? So that's about as even on the field as you can get. So I think there are too many questions right now to take the over because of what you said. Like Houston, Willie Fritz played defense, and we have a musical chair situation going on at quarterback at Colorado, right? They rotated between 3 guys, and Houston's looked good so far, but they are untested. Stephen F. Austin and Rice are not good opponents. So Wigman has looked good. The offense has been okay. The defense has been leading them. My lean here is towards Colorado because when we're looking at what would break this game open is, you look at the pass block grade of the Cougars is miserable. And the best unit on defense for Colorado is that line. So my lean is towards Colorado, but I think you're right. I think the under is the best play. BP has it at under. Now, this is trending way towards the under right now, but I think there's just so many Colorado bettors that'll bet Colorado. So the number should get better for Houston in this week. And I think most people that are betting Colorado are probably taking overs as well. So I would say sit on the number. I think it's going to open up a little bit, even though the money is going towards it right now. Just the money is always on the under to start the week. It's just how everything works. So I think we're going to get a better number for Houston moving forward. We have this closer to Houston by a field goal than by 4.5. So if it ducks down under 3 to 2.5, then I'd be interested in Houston a little bit. But my lean is towards Buffalo plus the points. So if you want them, take that now. But I think, like you said, the under is probably the best play here.
Okay, let's keep it moving. And before we do, I did want to remind everyone that we are extremely excited to announce our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. Everybody knows and loves the Hard Rock hotels, the casinos, and now you can use the top-rated Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook to place your bets on all NFL and college football games this season. Hard Rock Bet is the only legal sportsbook in the state of Florida and also available in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado, with more states being launched all the time. You can also play on the Hard Rock Bet's online casino if you're in the state of New Jersey. From here on out, you'll see us use Hard Rock Bets with lines when we're talking about games this season. And as we gear up for the NFL and college football season, sign up for Hard Rock Bet and make a $5 bet, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win that bet. Head over to Hard Rock Bet and sign up today to make your first deposit. Boggs, can you believe it? A presenting sponsor before we got canceled. I mean, I still can't believe it.
Hey, we're doing something right, so we'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate Hard Rock Bet. We appreciate all the listeners, all the viewers who helped us get to this point. Very, very excited. And let's keep it moving here in the noon slate. It's the Wisconsin Badgers on the road against the 19th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. A lot of experts coming into this season. They had Wisconsin finishing towards the end of the Big Ten with one of the most difficult schedules in the entire country. But they've taken care of business so far, winning and covering against Miami, Ohio, and Middle Tennessee. Maryland transfer quarterback Billy Edwards Jr., though, he was out in week 2 after getting banged up in week 1. No status update as of now. Tune back into Wednesday's show, and we'll see what we can get there for Billy's status moving forward. Alabama responded following that very bad week 1 upset to FSU. They won 73-0 over Louisiana Monroe last week. I would like to mention, though, too, wide receiver Ryan Williams. He sat out that game with a concussion, hoping to see him back on the field, also hoping to see him back on the outside. He doesn't need to be running in the slot, getting hospital balls all day long. Bama won this game last year, 42-10, as an 8-point favorite on the road. Boggs, will it be a similar result this go around as a 20.5-point favorite? And does this number get any longer, you think, as the week progresses?
I wouldn't be surprised, right? We have a recent history of this game. We just saw Alabama dominate. Wisconsin likely to be on their backup quarterback here. So I do think it probably opens up towards Bama. But let's ignore that and let's take the Alabama team total. I think that's what we want to do here. 34.5 is getting you plus money right now. So I think that's the way I'd want to go, because the system says to take Wisconsin in this game, which I do not feel comfortable with at all, specifically after watching last year. And I think the one thing that systems can't take into account immediately is the fact that Alabama is going to be putting up points to try to get a rhythm in their offense and to dominate some of these games to look better in the polls and stuff moving forward. So I think this is a team that's going to want to keep piling up points. And that's why I think the safest thing here is the team total, because this is a lopsided roster for Wisconsin right now. They're 70th on offense, which is a little below average in the nation, and they're 30th on defense. So this is a team that has a strong defense. So I would rather go with the over in this game because I think Bama does the heavy lifting, or just take their team total. But I think it does go towards Bama, but I also think the total is going to open up a little bit.
Yeah, after costing me so much money, I can't do it. I can't get back invested with this game at all. Like, I'm going to sit on the sidelines. I'm going to see what I can learn from Alabama. It seems like, kind of all the negative naysayers on the internet, kind of questioning some things going on, the team hotel, the conditioning, the effort of the team really sparks something under them for them to go out.
How about that lady that said if she won the lottery, she was going to buy out Kalen DeBoer and everybody at Bama?
That's what I'm talking about. So it definitely lit a fuse. I just don't know if it keeps going for 2 weeks in a row, but I would feel good with, laying Bama 10, 11 points. 20.5, no way. I can't do that. So, but the team total might be the way to go. So I like that. We also have an ACC banger in the noon slate with the 12th ranked Clemson Tigers on the road in Bobby Dodd Stadium against the undefeated Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. It's been a very disastrous start to Clemson's campaign. They lost to LSU 17-10 in that opener, and then they just narrowly escaped Troy in their last game as well as 33.5-point favorites. Their number one wide receiver, Antonio Williams, he hasn't played since early in that week 1 matchup. Cade Klubnik has since struggled as well. He has under a 60% completion rate, 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs for a guy who's right up there with the top of the Heisman favorites coming into the season. Georgia Tech, meanwhile, they've covered in 2 straight. They won by a TD in Boulder in that opening weekend game. And then also they beat Gardner-Webb 59-12 at home last week. However, they were without quarterback Haynes King, who was dressed but did not play with an injury. Pretty mixed reporting on what that injury is. Some have called it like a core abdomen issue. Others have called it a shoulder issue. All I know is that he got beat up pretty good in that game, was hobbling a little bit at the end of the Colorado outing. So I could see maybe something being wrong, but at least that he was suited up. He might play in this one. He's a tough kid, so I don't think he would want to miss this one. The Tigers have won 9 straight against the Yellow Jackets, and they come in as 3.5-point to 4.5-point favorites. Do you expect this line to remain right around over a field goal, Boggs?
Yeah, I think it's going to stay over a field goal, and I think that's probably where it should go. And
Mhm.
I think you're going to get smart money coming in on Georgia Tech from what they look like if we get a positive note on Haynes King, right?
Sure. Yep.
If we're reading between the lines, I think this is look, he was really tired against Colorado. We didn't need him against Gardner Webb. So we didn't
Mhm.
play him. So we'll put him out against Clemson because that is where we need him. I think that is, if you're reading between the lines, that would be my assumption, right? But I want more of an update. I want an update on Antonio Williams as well. So I don't think we can bet this game until we get updates on these injuries and know for certain where these guys are 50-50. Are they out? Are they definitely going to play? Are they 75% to play? Like, just give me something more than what we have right now. I would say I think the line probably moves towards Clemson just because there's going to
Mhm.
be more Clemson people betting this game. But I'm not really sure which way it's going to go because I don't know what these injury reports are going to do. So I'm going to stay away until we get updates. But right now, if both those guys are banged up and playing at less than 50%, I think I would lean under. We saw Klubnik has been struggling so far this season to get things right. Doesn't mean he can't get it right here. And he's still an NFL worthy prospect, and they have a lot of NFL talent on that offense, right? So they could do the heavy lifting towards the total here. But I just think with them stumbling out of the gate, not looking good, this is a good matchup. I think Georgia Tech is a
Mhm.
stronger team than I gave them credit for coming in for sure. So I'm going to lean the under in this one right now. I think that's probably where the total will move, is probably more towards the under because these guys are banged up, but I don't really want to mess with this one until we get some injury updates.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit of a status update on Haynes King, I think, before I'm invested as well. I actually think, though, there could be some value depending on what it is right now. I haven't looked at it, but maybe a Georgia Tech team over. Like, I really like this offense, man. Like, Haynes King, 156 yards on the ground in that opener. The dude's a bulldozer. And at the same time, like, we've all talked about Jamal Haynes being that RB1 in the backfield for this team for years. But they also have this new running back, Malachi Hosley, who's been excellent as well, kind of helping them open up things a little bit. So I think that would be exciting. I like Eric Rivers, the transfer coming in from FIU as well. So some really good stuff happening here. Would like to see like Malik Rutherford back out there too. He hasn't played since early in week 1. So if we can get some good status updates on the Georgia Tech offensive pieces, I think I'm back in on the Yellow Jackets once again. Let's jump into the 3:30 slate here, though, Boggs, where it's an SEC rivalry game with the number 6 Georgia Bulldogs on the road in Knoxville as a 3.5-point favorite against the number 15 Tennessee Volunteers. Georgia, they have wins over Marshall and Austin Peay to start the season, but 0-2 ATS, 0-2 to the over as well. This, of course, is under the direction of junior quarterback Gunnar Stockton, who has been responsible for over 500 yards of combined offense, 4 touchdowns this season. Tennessee, meanwhile, they have looked awesome this season. They've covered in games both against Syracuse and East Tennessee State to start the season. This is despite pretty much a new offensive skills set players coming in. We got that includes Joey Aguilar, the quarterback transfer coming from App State, being under center. Tennessee, they're ranked 2nd in total offense. Georgia is 8th in total defense. So what wins out here, Bogman? Elite offense to start out the year or elite defense from the Bulldogs? And do you think this line moves at all?
I don't know which way the line would move. Tennessee being at home, that's a tough place to play. This is a fun rivalry game here, but for me, um, I think the under is the play here, right? Because we've seen Georgia put up some yards, but they haven't 28 points against Austin PA. That is not good enough. ETSU.
But were they throttling down on purpose, do you think, maybe because of this game?
I don't care. You put up more than 28 points on
Yeah, it's a good point.
in Marshall. Like, they have not been tested at all.
Yeah, style point counts. Yeah,
really don't like Gunnar Stockton at this point, right? Just doesn't seem like your traditional Georgia quarterback. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm getting this wrong. And look, Georgia's just gonna roll over Tennessee because I saw a lot of cracks in Tennessee against Syracuse. They did win that game. They won that game going away. There are a couple drives where Syracuse was running down their throat, which I never thought a team like Syracuse, with all of that returning production gone, and it's, basically a new slate for them on offense, to be able to run on Tennessee even in week 1. I thought that was curious. So to me, I think if you want to side on this, take the money line. That's what I would do. I wouldn't mess too much with this spread. Because if you think Tennessee can win at home, take them on the money line and get that juice. And if you like Georgia, I just am not trusting Gunnar Stockton. So I think that's a money line play as well. But I think the best play is going to be the under here, because I think with the problems of Stockton, I think Georgia's going to run the ball, which is going to bleed the clock. And I think their defense is good enough to stop Joey Aguilar. So to me, I think this game is an underplay. I think we will see it move a little lower as well. But I'm not 100% sure on where the total is going to go, because right now early money is always on the under. Actually, I can take a look live and tell you if this has changed. No, it's still, I mean, the cash is coming a little bit more on the over, but lots of tickets on the under right now.
Yeah, and to your point, like taking the money line too, like Georgia has won 8 in a row in this rivalry, but only 3-2 ATS since 2020. So I don't feel comfortable laying the points. If I want the dogs, I'm gonna drink the juice, and I think it's -175 is the best money line you're gonna find. Or if I'm taking Tennessee, I would like that plus money value there too. So I think you got to pick a side in this one if you're gonna opt for not going with the total. But for me, it's a stay away here early in the week. Let's move to the backyard brawl though, which is also on tap for 3:30 with the 2-0 Pitt Panthers on the road in Morgantown, West Virginia as 6.5-point favorites against the Mountaineers. Pitt has won and covered at home in their first 2 games against Duquesne and Central Michigan. Shout out to Central Michigan, though. They hung really tough in that first half of that game. Sophomore quarterback Eli Holstein, he leads the ACC in passing touchdowns with 8. He also leads them in passing efficiency and passing yards per attempt. Senior running back Desmond Reed, he comes off a season with over 1,500 combined yards. I know a lot of people in Devy circles are excited about him. And they also have a couple really nice wide receivers in Kenny Johnson and Raphael Williams. WVU, they're 1-1 after dropping that game to Ohio last week. They failed to score a single point off all 3 of Parker Navarro's turnovers. And they were also outgained by a MAC team in Ohio, 429 to 250 yards. And I think more importantly, Boggs, they lost their stud running back Jaheim White early in that game, and their top 2 wide receivers were carted off the field. Pitt is 2-1 against West Virginia since this rivalry was renewed back in 2020. However, they did lose as favorites in the one game that was played in Morgantown in 2023. So this line has already moved about 1.5 since this morning, so it is moving quickly. Does it continue to do so in the Panthers' favor, Bogman?
Probably, because of the way that WVU looked last week. You and many other bettors were cursing them out. And you should have been. They look miserable, right? There is no way I am touching this game with my money. This is too weird of a game. West Virginia is too weird of a place. This is rife for Pitt to beat WVU down at home. I'm not going to say they're going to do it. No way. I love Eli Holstein. I think he has been outstanding. He's won me some money, won me my week in CFF this week as well. So nice. I'm a big Eli Holstein fan. I ain't touching this game with my money or your money. If you gave me money to bet, it wouldn't be on this game. So I'm not touching it. I'm going to stay all the way away from this one.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, man. This is one of those rivalries that is so tight every single year. Like, again, gun to the head, I would pick Pitt, right? Like, yeah. I think just based on what we saw, I think we would all pick Pitt. But Morgantown, they burn couches there, man. They don't mess around out there. It's a rowdy place to play, and it gets no rowdier. It's hard
travel, too. You have to take the bus in, right? Like, you have to take the bus in. It's hard to travel. It's annoying. That place gets loud.
Is it hard to travel? It's like 45 minutes down the road, though. You know what I mean?
I heard it's all through the mountains and stuff, though. Isn't it, like, windy and weird?
I mean, it is a little bit. You pretty much just jump on, like, I think it's 79 that continues into whatever West Virginia is there. So it's like, I don't think it's bad travel, but I don't know. It's
weird travel. I know that most teams have to fly into Pittsburgh to then drive there.
Right. Yeah.
But Pitt is, you're already there. So it is 45 minutes away, but it's just, it's a weird travel game. It's a weird rivalry game. Strange bounces. I think, like you said, my lean is Pitt. My lean is the under because we've seen absolutely nothing from WVU's offense as well. Mm-hmm. So that's my lean, but I've seen this game get weird too many times to put money on it.
I think if White and those receivers that were carted off are both not playing in this one, I think I would either take the under 57.5 points. You can get it -110 right now. Or I would just honestly consider betting the West Virginia team under. Because like I do trust that Pitt will put up some points here. They put up like 30, high 20s in a lot of these, renewed rivalry games. But I think the under is probably where I lean. That might make the card. We'll touch on that later in the week, though, when we get some updates there on the injury front. The Giants slaying number 18 South Florida Bulls. They're back on the road, though, as 16.5 to 17.5 point dogs to the number 5 Miami Hurricanes. With Byram Brown back at quarterback, man, the Bulls have been excellent. They've knocked off both the Boise State Broncos and Florida as double-digit underdogs. Miami, they have begun the Carson Beck era with wins against Notre Dame and Bethune-Cookman, and he's made this new look offense led by LSU transfer wide receiver CJ Daniels and true freshman Malachi Toney look really, really good. Still, though, I think it's been like Ruben Bain and this entire defensive front that really impressed me in that first opening game. Last year, Miami did win this game 50-15 as 18-point favorites. With that said, and the line looks very similar right now, do we see it move much again, Bogman?
I think rain likely in this game as well. At least,
okay.
God, I it's so funny coming from Arizona where the forecast is it's going to be hot, right?
Yeah.
And it's never going to rain. I was like, okay, well, the forecast is just the forecast. That's it. Moving to Texas, the forecasters are so unbelievably wrong that it just amazes me that we even have, stuff for a week out. So as of now, rain is likely in this game to add just another weird element. But I think this is where we can jump off the USF train. And it's not completely jumping off, but it's no disrespect for what they've accomplished. I think being Florida was great. And I think Florida and Miami are different this year, right? Lagway is a young guy with not a lot of starts under his belt. Beck is a older statesman here at the collegiate level. And, he proved himself against Notre Dame. He looked good there. And as you mentioned, that defense has looked good. Cristobal can make mistakes as well. So we'll see what happens here. But Miami did a good job of keeping Carr in the pocket and forcing him to pass. Brown is a completely different problem right there for the defense. But I think could there be a bigger letdown spot? Like you're coming off these two huge upsets and now you're going to Miami again. Like if USF wins, they're going to be a top 10 team. And why would you say, what could you say against them? The score might be closer than the spread. So I'll lean USF on this game, but I think my favorite bet in this game is, again, let's go with the team total. Let's have Miami do the heavy lifting here. 35.5. I think you're getting plus money or right there. I think 34.5 was minus money. 35.5 was plus money. So that's 5 touchdowns. That's a lot to put up in a good game here. But as you mentioned, this game was 50-15 last year. So and Byron Brown played in it. So I think that this is a mismatch, but I don't think Miami is going to give the mistakes that Florida did.
I would think not, but there's no way I'm trusting Carson Beck against a red-hot USF team laying 16.5. I just can't do it, man.
Yeah, so, I said I'd lean USF. But I team total instead. That's what I would.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to opt. I hate to, I don't want to be super wishy-washy this week, but honestly, a lot of these games we're talking about today, I don't have much action down on. I'll have a play for you later in the episode, but
conference play gets harder. There's a lot of conference games here. So
and of course we'll have our parlays episode later this week. Boggs will have his best bet, and then I'll of course put my full betting card out on social media later this week too. So you can get some of those other games we're not talking about. But I wanted to remind everyone real quickly as well that you can actually track your bets, stay accountable, and level up your game by downloading the BettingPros app. With Sportsbook Sync, you can automatically track your bets across all major books in just one spot. Easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and yes, parlays. Create custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. New users, you can get yourself months for free, a BettingPros Premium with your first deposit and a wager at any of our partner sportsbooks. Learn more at bettingpros.com/premium. The Florida Gators hope to get back on track after dropping the game late against South Florida last week when they traveled to face the number 3 LSU Tigers in Death Valley. A one-time Heisman hopeful DJ Lagway looked pretty pedestrian last week, man, completing just 23 of 33 passes for 222 yards, 1 touchdown, and an interception. LSU got the big win on the road in week 1 against Clemson, 17-10, but they did throttle down last week against Louisiana Tech, failing to cover but winning 23-7. The usual suspects of Garrett Nussmeier, Aaron Anderson, Cade Durham, they've been really up to snuff so far. But I got to give a shout out to the big boys in the trenches, man, on both sides of the ball who bullied Clemson in that Saturday game, Brian Kelly, he is 2-1 ATS against the Gators in his tenure in Baton Rouge. However, the Gators have stunned them like last year, 27-16 in the Swamp. That and the fact that this line has already moved towards the Tigers, it just tells me that this is a place maybe I don't want to get invested again, but I think it's going to continue to go in that direction. What do you think, Boggs, with the movement?
I mean, this feels like the biggest trap game of the year so far, doesn't it? Like, Florida looks pathetic. They're going on the road, but it was a clear look ahead to this game, right? Like, that is why they lost to USF. But these random losses have been a staple of Billy Napier's tenure here. And I do wonder, like, the players listen and they know what's going on. They're speaking about Napier being gone as if he's already gone. So I think that loss to USF at home last week was so bad that it's one that could bleed into this week. So my lean is going to be towards LSU. Night game at LSU is rough as well. So I think we may be overthinking this. Look, the BP system says it should be closer than this spread at 9.5. I'm hoping that 9.5 is too many points and we can get this to come back down to, if we can get it at 6.5, man, that would be beautiful.
I would lay 6.5. I would lay 6.5, but I don't think I'm not paying the juice to get there. Yeah,
I think if you want LSU, you're gonna have to take them by this 9.5 or at least 8.5, maybe. So I don't think it's gonna move that much. So I think probably a stay away from.
What about a Gators team total under, maybe, because of how good LSU's front looked?
You know what? Great. That's a really good point. And Lagway probably good for a couple turnovers here as well.
Yeah.
In a road game at night. So yeah, I think maybe under team total for Florida is good, but yeah, 9.5 feels like too many points. It feels very trappy.
Lagway's not running it all this year, and like I know he's not like an extremely mobile quarterback, but he's still more mobile than what he's been this season. I think it is the injuries, man. I really do. Like, we barely saw him take off at all.
100%.
Yeah. So I think that team total, that might be something that makes the card. This is why we do this, man. We talk these out.
I see so many DJ Lagway commercials living in Montgomery, Texas, because he's from Willis,
do you really?
Like the next town over. And whatever his NIL has got all kinds of commercials in this area. So people love him here, and he's a great kid. Very excited for him, but I think he's playing at less than 100% right now. So hard to bet money on a guy that's less than 100.
Yeah, and still breaking in some new weapons, right? Like Jane Bow's a great running back out of the backfield, but you know, they're still breaking in these new wide receivers as well. So I think it's going to take time, and I think that's a big spot for him, maybe too big here in week number 3. Let's move to the Battle of OH in Columbus, Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, it is actually a primetime matchup for the Buckeyes. You're welcome, Ohio State fans. However, it does come by way of a game that has a 32.5 point spread against the Ohio Bobcats. Brian Smith's Bobs, they're 2-0 ATS this season. I should have known. They covered and won outright against WVU last week. They lost to Rutgers by 3 in week 1. The defending national champs, meanwhile, they're once again the top-ranked team in the nation after knocking off Boggs' Texas Longhorns and Arch Manning in week 1, and then blowing out Grambling State 70-0 in week 2. Scott, is this another play here with such a big line and a really solid MAC team in Ohio that we just have to kind of avoid this spread, you think? Like Parker Navarro's no pushover despite 3 turnovers last week against the Mountaineers.
Avoid the spread. I think take the over in this one. That's like my initial gut is, look,
Okay.
Ohio, they're not going to win this game. They're probably not going to make it competitive. Like Ohio State's the best team in the country. I don't think there's really a doubt about that right now. But Ohio did just beat West Virginia. They put up 400 yards against them and Rutgers. It's 2 P4 teams that they played so far.
Yeah, scored over 30 against Rutgers, yeah.
Yeah, obviously way worse than Ohio State, right? But Ohio State can do the heavy lifting here. I think they're going to this is a good game to get Julian Sands' confidence going as well against the MAC defense. So I think that, the over is the play that I would go with here. Currently it's 54.
I like that.
Lots of the money is on the under. Let me see if the money has poured in towards the over as of this morning, because no, it has not. It is still way on the under here. So maybe even sit on it and wait for this to get lower right now, because this is showing all the money on the under. So
really,
I don't. It's got to be 99%. It can't be 100, but that's got to be most of the money on the under right now. So I'd say wait on it. Wait for it to open up, get up to 55, 56, something like that, and then hammer that under.
So I can't bet player props here.
Down. I said it the opposite way. My bad.
Yeah. So I can't bet player props here in Pennsylvania on college football, but is there are there lines out there for interceptions? Because I would maybe look at Parker Navarro throwing at least 1 or 2, honestly, and
it's always over. It's always over unders a half. Like it's never like 1.5 or anything like that.
That's probably so juiced then.
UD and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to put it with something else. So, and a lot of the times in those mismatches, they just won't offer it. So,
okay. Yeah, makes sense. Either way though, I think the over could set up nicely here if there are some short fields for Ohio State. They still want to continue to feed their guys, right? Like Jeremiah Smith had a really nice week 2, slow week 1. They got CJ Donaldson, James Peoples in the backfield that they want to keep going. So I think I do like that over as well. That might make the card for me. 2 more games for everyone here. First, we've got an SEC grudge match in the primetime slate. The Vanderbilt Commodores, they're on the road in Columbia as 5.5-point dogs against the 11th ranked South Carolina Gamecocks. Vandy 2-0 ATS and to the over this season with wins over Charleston Southern and Virginia Tech. South Carolina, meanwhile, they're led by quarterback Lenore Sellers, edge Dylan Stewart, and they also played Va Tech, but they really relied on big plays to beat them. They weren't as dominating as Vandy. They also then failed to cover as a 43.5-point favorite against South Carolina State last week. Since 2020, South Carolina 5-0 against Vandy, but they are also 4-1 ATS at that time as well, winning by an average of 26 points, or 21.6 points, excuse me. Still, this line has dropped 3 points since opening, Bogman. Do we think that this continues to shrink, and is that maybe an opportunity to jump on with Lenore Sellers and the Gamecocks?
Yeah, we already have this as a, what is it? Is it still 5.5?
5.5, yep.
Yeah, okay. So we have this as SC by a little more than a touchdown. So
okay.
This one we're leaning more towards South Carolina for sure, but Vandy's look good. The thing that turns this to me, and this is just a lean, I haven't bet any money on this, but the thing that moves this towards South Carolina to me is that South Carolina at night is a wild environment. It is a tough place to go play. A lot like, we just saw Mississippi State and Arizona State, right? That was a tough one to play. And I think you're going to see some of the same here. I'm not sure that they will be able to stop South Carolina. That's really my thing here. I do think they'll be able to score with them. Pavia's look good, and looking at roster strength, this is a top 20 offense for Vandy in the nation. So, I was disrespecting them a little bit too much last week. I thought Virginia Tech would handle them, and so I'm not going to get got by Terrell this week and his love of Pavia. So let's just go with the over. Right? Like South Carolina's offense, I think, is going to be able to put up points against Vandy, but Vandy has not backed down. They've been scoring points. They've been putting them up on the board, and this offense looks great. So let's just hit the over here. And BP is leaning towards the over in this one as well. So it's leaning towards South Carolina and the over. let's just not even mess with that line. Let's just take another total here and go with the over.
I wouldn't mind like maybe a skinny parlay with the South Carolina money line, maybe put in with another heavy money line, or, if it's an NFL prop or a NASCAR prop, whatever you're doing. I don't know who's, I don't know. I'm probably the only one who mixes like college football props with
NASCAR.
Yeah.
I don't think you're the only one, but there's, I don't know that there's a lot of people here doing that. So
it's a small community. It's a small community for sure. Let us know down in the comments below if you're doing any money line parlays with some NASCAR props
on NASCAR college football, though.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some.
Yeah, a little SEC bias down there for sure. Boggs, we do have one more game here though, and it is a top 25 matchup in South Bend where the number 16 Texas A&M Aggies, they are 6.5 to 7.5 point dogs against the 8th ranked Fighting Irish. Mike Elko's men, they're 0-2 ATS this season. They failed to cover against both UTSA and Utah State to open up the season. Notre Dame, they had a bye this past week, but they did lose in South Beach in that opener to Miami. I will say, though, freshman quarterback CJ Carr, he kept them in that game while their run game was largely ineffective against Ruben Bain and company. Notre Dame, they got the best of the Aggies in College Station last year, 23-10 as 1.5 point dogs. Boggs, what are your thoughts on the Irish by under a touchdown? And will we be able to get this number all week, you think? Or is this now the time we have to jump on Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman's train if we want them?
No, I think the Aggies are pretty popular. So I think that this game will hover right around here. I think it's going to stay at 6, 6.5, 5.5. I think it'll dance in that neighborhood. I don't think you can push it over a touchdown. I think that's a sucker's bet. So I'm not going to I don't think this moves too much. And I think the big question in this game is how serious are the Aggies' issues stopping the run, right? Because UTSA ran on them. Utah State, they did beat Utah State in the dirt, but this is also a revenge game narrative for the Aggies who got beat at home in week 1 last year, started the Mike Elko era, all that stuff. You hated to see it. It was so terrible, right? It was no one liked that. I definitely wasn't doing cartwheels after that game. But we also have desperation from Notre Dame here as well, because currently they're not slated to play another ranked team. Now, USC could easily be ranked by the time they play USC. There's a couple other teams in there that could be ranked. But right now, as it stands, no ranked teams, I believe, on the schedule, unless I looked at it wrong. So I think the desperation and motivation is on the Notre Dame side. They need to win this game because we've seen teams go 10-2, not play anybody, and not make the playoffs. So I think that in this game, I like the under the most because I think Notre Dame is going to take advantage of these issues that Texas A&M has had in stopping the run. That a lot of their defensive line to the NFL this season. I think three quarters of it is gone, and they've had issues stopping the run. I think Notre Dame still has Love and Price, so I think they're going to run the ball a lot in this game. I think the clock is going to bleed. Notre Dame top 20 in defensive returning production as well. I think they're going to make things hard for Marcel Reed. So, yeah, I think the under is the play here. I think Notre Dame is safe, but as you know, Seth, I consistently get Notre Dame wrong. So I'll let you bet the game. I'll just take the total.
Hey, that's all right, man. And like, I'll be honest with you, I lost quite a few units in week 1. That was my big bet, was betting Notre Dame against Miami. But looking back last season and that run in the CFP, like, what did the Notre Dame Fighting Irish do better than anyone? Well, they ran the ball, right? Like Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, they're two of the best running backs in the country, especially when you put them in the same backfield. And with A&M giving up over 200 rushing yards to UTSA, I think give Notre Dame a week to go back to practice, fix their issues in the run game. I think they're going to lean on them. So give me the Irish anything under a touchdown. I'm going to lay it pretty heavily, multiple units down on that one. Once again, I'm going to try to win back some of my stake from early in the season. Love it or hate it, but that's what I got for this one, Boggs.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I would love to see Notre Dame win going away here. 35-3 would be my favorite. Something like that.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us on this early picks episode of the Betting Pros College Football Show. Still to come later this week and every week, our picks and prediction show with Terrell Furman Jr., Boggs' best bets, and our parlay picks as well. Let us know down below in the comments your favorite Week 3 picks. And while you're here, make sure you're smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you're new. For Scott Bogman, I'm Seth Woolcock. Take care, y'all.